Shot. This is the easiest I've ever to answer.
I'm going to say beer. I can't even begin to describe.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around on this one. He said the Athletic is saying the Rangers have a 35% chance of making the playoffs. Money Puck listed them at 43.4% chance of making the playoffs. Although, of course, I looked that up, Anthony, before Adam Fox went on IR. Just a reminder, our trade deadline special is going to be next Friday, going to be at noon, unless something major breaks, and we could go on before that. Chris Drury and the Rangers should be sellers at the deadline. I'll start with Jim on this one.
Round, 100% round. Like I said it before. I'll say it again. You need to sell assets at this point. I don't think you're making the playoffs. Look, yeah, you had back-to-back wins, big deal.
Get the hoop.
But yeah, exactly. Get the hoop. Like, just put it out right now.
Actually, I can't get the hoop right now because that's in storage because I'm moving.
Okay, well, anyway, the hoop's out there. But seriously, it's slam dunk. You sell. You have assets to sell. You have players teams are going to want at the deadline. I don't care that you won 2 games. You won 2. You beat a Penguins team that's not making the playoffs. You got crushed by a Buffalo team that's at the bottom of the standings. Yeah. And you beat an Islanders team that didn't get goaltending. No, you got to move out these players. You're not making the playoffs, and you just look ahead towards next year and you get assets.
You got to sell. It's like everyone else is saying. It's around. And I'm not even going to go based on the loss to Buffalo. And how really heavily outplayed they got in their most recent 2 wins. But just all season long, they were up, they were down, they were horrendous for a while. They won a couple of games in a row. It's just they're not a very good team, which is crazy to think because again, no one would have ever said that before the season started. And now that Adam Fox is going to miss, a large chunk here, I just don't see any realistic path of how this should go any different for Chris Drury and the New York Rangers. You have Ryan Lindgren, who you're not going to bring back, so you're not bringing them back. Why not move him? Get something for him. Even a guy like Riley Smith, he's not going to move him. Even though it's an insignificant return, move Jimmy Vesey. Move anybody you can to give yourself the best situation possible to head into the offseason with. Even trade Chris Kreider. Trade him. He's getting older. He's had a bad year. This could be a warning sign. It could be a warning sign of the decline is coming. Move him now if you can. Get some assets back. Regroup and come back strong next year because I see no reason why they can't pull the Washington Capitals. Come back and be a good team again next year. But only if Chris Drury starts making the right moves now. And that is sell, sell, sell.
I've got one recommendation. Ready? Sell. Abandon ship.
They have the Toronto Maple Leafs on Friday night. They have Nashville on Sunday the 2nd. Then it's going to be the Islanders again on Monday. And then they get to the Washington Capitals on the 5th. That'll be before the trade deadline. The Rangers realistically could go 2-2. It's fool's gold. Yes, and as everybody's saying, the decline's right here. Guys, it's an easy hat trick for us.
Exactly.
I got to put it on right here. It's there because again, we mentioned it in the A block, but Chris Drury's trying to change the identity of this team. Whether or not he should be the guy to do it anymore, that's a good question too. But let's not kid ourselves. They also won because, as we said before, Ilya Sorokin was not really great last night, to say the least. And then Joel Blomqvist was not good at all on Sunday. The Rangers need to get out of this thinking that this team is one player away, because I can't find that player that they're one player away from right now. And Panarin, I don't think you can move on from him, but he has not looked good since the Miller trade. Zibanejad, obviously you're stuck with him. Kreider, you might be able to move. Now, is it going to be a good trade? I don't know. We'll see about that there in the draft. Everyone else, if they're not nailed down to the floor, get them the hell out, because the Rangers gave up so much already. They have no assets to go acquire a player. They need to start gathering assets. And anybody that thinks that there's going to be a parade in June, I'm sorry, you're delusional.
What an idiot.
Lou Lamoriello will not make a single trade by the trade deadline.
Painfully, Mark Williams, I'm going to say, round. I think Lou's not going to do anything. I know Islander fans don't want to hear that, but I don't think he's going to do anything right now. I believe that, he should sell, but as we talked about, yeah, Shadow, but Islander fans will ride if he does that.
Boo this man!
But, no, he doesn't sell. He doesn't sell, Mark. He doesn't believe in it. And here's the other thing. He is a guy that is, as we talked about in our group chat, he's not going anywhere. He's only leaving if he steps aside on his own. He's not going anywhere. With the moves he's made in the past, the team is set up to win now with the contracts they have, Barzal, Sorokin, Horvat, all that. So he's not retooling. He's not stripping it down. No one knows what he's thinking, but I think realistically, the thought process with Lou is he believes, like we just referenced the Capitals, with a quick retool in the offseason, he can have the Islanders back into the playoffs next year.
Oh, he's a madman! A madman!
So because of that, I think his mindset is, I'm going to re-sign Brock Nelson because we're going to be good again next year. I'm going to re-sign Kyle Palmieri because, again, we're going to compete next year. I believe that's his mindset. And so, when Nelson and Palmieri are Islanders past the trade deadline, then there's no extensions. Just keep in mind, Lou didn't do that because he's an idiot. It's because he knows that those guys are going to re-sign, even if they don't have contracts signed yet, or as people say, it's in his draw. So if Nelson and Palmieri are still Islanders after the deadline, it's because Lou Lamoriello knows that they're going to re-sign. And one thing about Lamoriello is he gives players respect, and players respect him. So if those guys gave him his word that they want to stay, he's going to take trust in that, and that's why he's not going to move them. So I don't think he moves any of them.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I was going to go round here, but the fact that it says single trade, I'm going beer because he will make a move, but it may not be the move that we all expect him to make.
Yeah, that's fair too. Yep.
Yeah.
Like he could be doing something that we have no idea about, right? Because Lou Lamoriello is so guarded, and when you think you know it and you know it's gonna come, it never comes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he gets wind of it, he's not doing it.
And Jim, I have a feeling that might have happened with Noah Dobson. I think there was so much smoke there.
Exactly.
I have a feeling he axed the deal.
He axed the deal because he axed the deal years with Minnesota. Remember a couple years ago, I think it was Parise when they were trying to get him at the deadline.
Yeah, Andrew Ladd, yeah. Ladd was going to go back the other way. Yeah,
and then it just died. But I do think he makes a move. That's why I go Pierre. Lamoriello does something at the deadline. He always does something, whether you agree with it or not. He always makes at least a trade. Like that's the thing. Like the word single trade to me, I think that's where it comes. I think he should sell. He should do everything Anthony said. Since the cap's been in place, he hasn't been able to manage it and know what to do with it. And that's the issue. If he can get younger and do what the Caps did, great. But the Caps got younger, and they have a couple of old guys. And the guys that were old and had issues are on LTIR. The Islanders don't have that.
I kind of got to go shot on this, guys. I think he might actually make some moves. He might be forced to. Because when you have the guy like Brock Nelson, who is very loyal, as I put up with Anthony's tweet just now, and how he's going to be viewed. But if he says the words, I'm going to test free agency, because he's been vastly underpaid by the New York Islanders. And maybe he might think about, let me see what the market's going to give. He's going to have to move at least either Nelson or Kyle Palmieri, because I don't think you can keep both of them. But Lou's got to think about improving the team. He always says, I'll make a trade if it's going to improve the team. If it's not going to improve the team, then he's not going to do it.
Here's sorry to cut you off, Mom, but here's one more thing. You just said, Lou doesn't make a trade unless it's going to help the team. I go back to last year when there was trade speculation when the Islanders were a bubble team about Brock Nelson. And the famous quote was Elliot Friedman said an executive had told him that Lou Lamoriello would rather gnaw off his own arm than trade Brock Nelson. So here's the thing with Nelson. Even though he's the highest, he's number one on a lot of trade boards, the teams that are going to be interested in him, like he's been linked to the Winnipeg Jets, for instance. Winnipeg Jets are the best team in the league. Their first round pick is going to be probably higher than 30. And this draft class from picks 15 to 20 on, it's been said to a very weak draft. So I feel like Lou Lamoriello would probably rather keep Brock Nelson than trade him for a 30th overall pick and a B or C prospect. He values Nelson more than that to make that trade. So that alone I don't think he'll trade Brock Nelson. I really don't. I really don't think he'll trade Brock Nelson unless Brock Nelson definitively said to him, "I want out. I'm not re-signing." And knowing the person that Brock Nelson is, I highly doubt that happened.
Agreed.
So he's not going to trade. He's not going to trade Brock Nelson. I don't think he will. I'll eat crow if I'm wrong. I'll say I'm wrong. You know me. I have no problem doing that. Done it plenty of times, but I don't think he's going to trade Brock Nelson.
And I got to agree with you on that too, because if there's anything we know about Lou, yes, he's also going to probably be one of the more loyal GMs in history. Like he loves his guys, and I don't think that I don't think it's going to be something that Lou just gives him up willy nilly. You got to blow him away with an offer, and again. If his good friend Bill Guerin comes calling, maybe you might see something like that. But Wicked saying, give me Brad Lambert and a first from Winnipeg, similar to Minnesota. So, but going to Minnesota, that could be a much better draft pick. All right, let's go to the Metro standings right now, guys.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.